The Frozen North, Episode 16. The top 5 plot twists that took us by surprise.
Hello and welcome to episode 16 of The Frozen North, your source for the best that story-focused gaming has to offer. My name is JJ, and I do the editing, uploading, handle the Facebook page, our blog, and I deal with iTunes. I'm here alongside my two co-hosts. First up, across the table and to my left, he supplies half the sound equipment but knows how to use all of it. He handles our Twitter account and our new Steam group, does some incredible interviews, and loves to correct me when I'm wrong. It's Mark.
Howdy, y'all!
You were trying to mess me up, too. That's the funny part. He's over there dancing.
Oh,
Yeah.
Be goofy. And second, also across the table, but to my right, what do you do here, exactly?
I'm Brian, and I supply the ha-ha and the woo!
He supplies the ha-ha and the woo.
Absolutely.
It's Brian.
And I'm the news guy.
And you are sometimes accurate with that news.
Maybe sometimes.
So-
But mostly it's the ha-ha and the yahoo!
When you
Oh,
read it.
and the pulling our hair out because you're playing PSP versions of classic RPGs.
Yes,
That's
I play
true.
handheld games.
While watching Marty McFly in Stripes.
Oh, Stripes, Bill Murray. Don't get me started. Don't even get me started.
Not even cool. What have we been playing? Me, personally, I'm going to start. Take that, guys. And
Okay.
listeners. I've been playing a lot of Final Fantasy 14 again, rocking it out, been healing. I actually liked it better than tanking, to be honest, mostly because it's easier.
Understandable.
There's just less to learn. From what I'm like level 31, and it's just really laid back, which is nice. I've been playing a lot of Fire Emblem on my 3DS, which has been an absolute blast. I like it a lot. So I'm about halfway through, I think. I saw there were like 25 chapters, and I'm on 14, so I'm a little over halfway.
Nice.
And honestly, that's pretty much about it. I finished Suikoden a while ago,
Right,
So
couple
which
weeks
we're
ago.
going to be talking about today. So Mark, what you been playing?
I just completed Suikoden this morning,
Oh.
and I've been playing...
You really like to enunciate that name, don't you?
Yes. Yes.
He always gets this little twinkle in his eye whenever he says it.
Suikoden.
It's such a good... It's my favorite.
It is. Yeah, that's true.
And I've been playing Zelda Link Between Worlds on my 3DS.
What do you think?
It's pretty awesome.
Solid.
Okay, I obviously finished Suikoden a couple weeks ago. Started playing Xenogears on a handheld on my Vita. I'm loving that. I just beat Halo Anniversary on my Xbox 360 that I recently bought because I'm a huge Halo nerd.
And a bro gamer?
Let me go ahead and rebut McIntyre JJ's. I don't play the multiplayer. I actually enjoy Halo for the story. Weird as that is, I love the lore of the Halo universe. So I'm into that again.
Doesn't every game start out with you on a ship that's like breaking apart or crashing or something?
You know what? Now I'm thinking of 2. You do that whole orbital dive.
Yeah.
3. I can't remember 3's.
3 are just popping back in. And 3 you just shoot down into the jungle.
That's right.
After you come back from Delta Halo.
Yep. And,
good old Delta
and obviously
Halo.
ODST, you do that awesome orbital drop from the ship to the city, which is pretty cool.
Can we stop talking about Halo?
And
You asked a question.
And in Halo Reach, you're just walking around.
Oh, that's cool.
That's how it
Although
starts.
I did play the opening of Halo 4, and yes, that's another theme to that one. You are on like your ship that was floating away in 3, and
Floating away.
It was already cut in half in the last game, though.
true, it was already a wrecked ship.
All right.
Well, that's what I've been playing.
Halo. Pro gamer.
Ow!
So, Mark, why don't we just dive right in?
Oh,
What do we
wait.
get-
Whoa. I beat A Link Between Worlds. Loved it.
Good?
Absolutely, yeah. I forgot I played that one.
What do you guys think of the... Like, I haven't played it yet. I have it, but I'm probably going to... Thinking I'll probably end up playing it when I'm out of town on my cruise in a few weeks. What do you guys think of the difficulty level?
I'm not
It's-
very far in it, but it doesn't seem that difficult. Well, there's some parts where you just don't know what you're supposed to be doing. But other than
That's
that,
typical
it's
Zelda,
it's not
though.
very difficult.
It's about as hard as A Link to the Past. I found that I actually died a bit on the last couple bosses, but it's like a typical Zelda difficulty. Boss will have like one red feature. You hit that, and then you win.
Well, then, why don't we head on into news?
All right, guys. My name's Brian. I'm the ha-ha guy and the wee guy and also the news guy. Sometimes accurate, always entertaining.
Oh my goodness!
All right,
Great.
here we go. Nintendo is considering and this is in air quotes, new business structure. Recently, as you all know, they've been having some financial issues. This is basically regarding their Wii U. It has continued to underperform and is causing internal reflection at the company. Nintendo is forecasting a $250 million loss for the current fiscal year. That's bad. Ending March 31st, and it has slashed its sales forecast from the Wii U from 9 million to 2.8 million. I mean, what else can
quite
you
a
say,
cut.
guys? It's not going well
Yep.
for them. I'm not going to blame it on consumers. I just think they made mistakes. Too many.
Everybody thinks that.
Yeah.
I mean, this is kind of old news at this point.
Sure.
Obviously, we do it every other week, but like I remember when this first broke, everybody was talking about how Iwata was basically saying like, "I'm not stepping down. I don't care how many people want me to." You know, it's like, well, obviously there's some kind of outcry here. If they think you're the problem, maybe you should do something about it.
And I don't mind if he doesn't step down, but he better do something different. Like if he's like, I'm not stepping down.
Yeah, but that's any
Right.
business at all.
Yeah. So they got to figure
Could have said the same thing with Don Matrick.
Yeah, very true.
Good old Don Matrick.
I wish he would have done something different, like not advertise last gen.
Next order of business, we got EverQuest. For all of you who are EverQuest fans, 15-year anniversary coming up. 15 years. That thing is still going. The upcoming year is a big one. They are actually EverQuest 2 is celebrating its 10-year anniversary. If y'all remember, that came out at the same year that WoW did, so it underperformed, obviously. But its little brother, or I guess I should say big brother, is turning 15.
You know what though? That's pretty darn impressive for a sequel because
Oh,
a
sure.
lot of sequel MMOs do not do well at all.
Yep.
That's true.
And then they're actually also touting their EverQuest Next landmark, which is entering alpha. So EverQuest Next is actually starting to become more reality.
Is that the one with that weird like voxel level building system that
Yes.
showed off?
Yep.
Interesting.
Yeah, it looks good. If you go over to the PlayStation blog, you get a little peek of the new Last of Us DLC called Left Behind. Cinematic trailer, you can check it out. I actually watched it. It looks just amazing. You actually, in this DLC, you get to explore the story of, if you guys have played it, she tells a story of a lost friend. I'm not going to ruin anything by saying that, but do you guys know what I'm talking about?
Yep.
And you get to see that whole story unfold.
So it's a prequel,
Yes, of
essentially.
sorts. Mm-hmm.
Oh, is that based off the story she tells like right at the end of the game?
Where what happened?
She kind of hints at it like all throughout.
Yeah,
That's true.
I'm
a
not
little
going to give
bit.
any plot spoilers away, but there's a friend that she had. Something happened to him. It's what that's going to explore.
Zombie apocalypse heartbreak.
Pretty much happened. Yeah. Elder Scrolls Online's voice cast is seriously impressive, guys. They released its cast, and I'm seeing names like Kate Beckinsale, John Cleese, Bill Nighy, Alfred Molina, Malcolm McDowell, Peter Stormare. I mean, woo! Of course, you Mass Effect fans will know Jennifer Hale.
Yeah, it's pretty impressive.
Yeah, I hope the game is impressive as the voice cast. All right, Witcher 3 is, I guess the studio has come out and said they are, air quotes, fairly close to maxing out the power of Xbox One and the PS4. CD Projekt Red CEO Marcin Iwinski says studio was able to achieve the mark by deciding years ago to skip this current generation, which is the previous generation, Xbox 360, PS3. The Witcher 3, The Wild Hunt, leverages nearly every ounce of power from the Xbox One and PS4. Considering how new they are, that's impressive.
Mark, what you know about the Wild Hunt?
I don't know anything about the Wild Hunt, evidently. I know there's a dude in the basement that's taunting me about it.
Yeah.
Who's apparently not death, but I sure thought he was.
Oh, I
He
understand.
sure looked like it.
Well,
Way to pull it, Brian.
yeah, it's okay. Just play the
Everyone
game.
has their moments.
Yep. Brian has his moments often. All right, Lightning returns. The Final Fantasy 13 3, I guess you can call it. It's got a demo out now, so go check it out, guys. I'm hearing and seeing good things about this game.
I haven't played it, but I looked at a YouTube video of mostly because I don't like playing demos of especially Final Fantasy games because they turn me off. Like I played the 12 demo when it first came out, and I was like, "What the heck is going on?" But then I played the actual game, and it introduced me to the battle system slowly and everything, and it was a lot easier to grasp. And I don't want to fall into this and be like, "Oh, I'm not looking forward to it anymore" because I played the demo and I didn't like it. I watched a video of the battle system though, and it actually looks pretty solid. To be honest, like I was expecting more hack and slash, which is the rumors that I had heard.
Sure.
And it really doesn't look like that. It looks very, very. You just really have to go check it out. Just do a YouTube search for Final Fantasy.
It's definitely a
demo.
departure from 13's battle system, which I happen to like, but it still looks very action and very cinematic.
It doesn't look like you can auto battle your way through the entire game on this one.
And you can't paradigm shift either.
Correct.
However,
she's the only one you control.
Right.
So
It does look interesting. Let's see. Namco Bandai is officially changing its name to, drumroll, Bandai Namco. In Japan, Namco Bandai is referred to as Bandai Namco.
were we struggling for news?
I've long wondered if and when the company would decide to go for unified branding worldwide, and it's finally happening this year. Announced at a board meeting yesterday, the name will take place April 1st. So get it right, guys. And a nice little segue into our next piece of bit. Speaking of Bandai,
It's going to be called Enix Square now?
correct, sir. This will segue very nicely into our last bit of... the reason our news was a little bit shorter was because I wanted to talk about this last bit of news for a short length because it's kind of something that I bothers me a little bit. But Namco Bandai's game, the Tales games, obviously... The Fantasia, obviously, we've heard the big news about it being free on the iOS devices. However, there's a catch to these games. They are actually ramping up difficulty spikes artificially in order to, goad players into using microtransactions. I feel like that if this trend continues, you're going to see a lot more follow suit, and some of our favorite RPGs are going to be basically gutted, rebranded, and remade into free microtransaction type games.
What do you mean when you say these games? Like what other ones do
old
this?
I'm saying
Is that a derogatory term?
No,
what I
meant.
mean by that is let me explain. When I say these games, I mean I hope it's not a trend that's going to start with these games. How do you guys feel about that? I mean, what?
Oh, it's terrible.
Right. I mean,
And I actually hear this a lot when I read about Kickstarters, about why people are bringing their games to Kickstarter. A lot of times when they go to traditional publishers, all they want to talk about is microtransactions.
Yeah.
They want free-to-play games that they can just charge people, they can nickel and dime people with.
to be honest,
So.
I don't really care. Like,
Really?
as long as it's a re-release of something and it's not something brand new that I really want to play and they have to have microtransactions in there, chances are I've either already played it or I'm looking to get it on whatever system it came out for anyways. So personally, it doesn't affect me. For people who are like, oh man, this game's easier to access now, I want to get into it and play it. Absolutely. That's a little,
Yeah, because now you're not playing.
And I think the real threat is if this game does really well and generates a lot of revenue.
That's what I was getting at with. I hope this does not start a trend. I hope this game is like no one likes the microtransactions, and they say, oh, you know what, this RPG type game is not suited for microtransactions.
I honestly, especially at this point, I don't know if there's a big enough audience to warrant them being like, oh, look how well this is doing. I think anybody who plays Tales of Fantasia already has.
Sure.
Or has no interest, and honestly, a Tales game on a cell phone really doesn't sound that great to me.
Yeah.
And I've played a handful of the Tales series.
Right. I just don't like the trend that gaming is going towards microtransactions.
I agree.
I don't.
I agree. It's definitely an MMO thing. That's
I
where it
want to
should
pay
stay.
a one-time fee, and I want to enjoy my content.
If it happens, it's because we didn't stand our ground.
Sure.
So,
The line must be drawn here.
Yes.
Name that movie. Come on.
Lord of the Rings.
Come on. Not even close. Nope.
The line must be
Star Trek First Contact. Captain Picard is on.
You say Star Trek
Enterprise.
First Contact like it's a mainstream movie that everybody's seen.
It's awesome.
I know, but like Braveheart would be one you could be like, it's Braveheart.
It's Star Trek First Contact. It is a
get
mainstream
I am
movie.
Locutus aboard.
If you were to quote if you were to quote something from Braveheart, people would more likely understand it because it's more mainstream than a movie like Star Trek First Contact. Now,
There are a lot of people who would disagree with that statement.
I don't think that it's possible to disagree. Star Trek is a niche, small little bunch of nerds. I'm going to
You're
get
right.
so
Star
much
Trek. Star Trek is so small.
You guys are just
who knows about
no
Star
one
Trek?
knows about,
Absolutely.
I mean, Star Wars is way better than Star Trek.
I'm not even going to go into that because I like them both. So
I'm just trying to rile.
What are you
I'm
doing?
just trying to rile
No
up
way.
the internet.
He's trying to get hate mail
Yeah.
sent to us or something.
you
I
can
guess.
send all hate mail to our email address. I'll just forward it to
I'm a
Brian.
sci-fi junkie,
because I want
yeah.
to read it first and then
Yeah.
put it into a nice folder, make it look pretty.
Yeah, I like to incite the rage.
Well, good. All right, so that's our news.
Oh man,
Mark.
that was some hell. Oh, that was a heck of a lot of news.
Yeah. Bandai Namco.
All right, so I've color coded my notes here, Brian. Does that excite you?
This week's spotlight is going to be on. It has to do with our review that we're doing today. One of them,
Absolutely.
The Suikoden series is awesome. It's amazing. Unfortunately, they haven't continued making them.
Yep.
So Mark's going to talk a little bit about a group that's trying to change that. Why don't you go ahead and give him a shout out?
All right. Well, I was going to say, Brian, I think you liked Suikoden, right?
Oh, you'll find out in my review.
Would you
Stay
say
tuned.
it was forward thinking,
When did it come
ahead
out?
of its time?
When did it come out?
Came out in 1995, the same year as Chrono Trigger.
Yes.
But it's been 8 years since the last Suikoden game on a console.
Are you reading?
I'm not reading like a robot.
He's not. He is not. He's putting some voice into it.
The handheld games take place in an alternate many worlds multiverse. We know only 18 of the 27 true runes. Yada, yada, yada. Okay, so
The notes are color coded.
I'm getting a look from JJ again. So we're here to talk about the Suikoden revival movement. It's been, like I said, 8 years. There's always been this sort of community around suikosource.com where people get together. There's a forum that's pretty lively. But there's never been much organization of all the fans around the world that wish there were more games until July of 2012 when some people from Suikosource and the True Rune Army got together and formed a Facebook community that ballooned up to, as of last time I checked, it was like 20-something.
It's over 20,000 yeah.
people. They've organized multiple of these Suikoden Day holidays where everyone gets together and, well, we don't get together, but everyone gets on and plays the different Suikoden games. Yep. They send in fan art. Some people have actually donated, like, Suikoden games and CDs and all kinds of stuff for contests they hand out to people. It's incredible. Thousands of people have been participating in all of these holidays. And this year, well, it's 2014. Last year, they launched Operation Blinking Mirror, in which fans were instructed to mail letters, fan art, cosplay photos, and more to Konami's headquarters in Japan to show them that the fans are still out there.
Yeah, this has been going on for a long time.
Yep.
Like, it's not one of those things where they are like, you know what, we should totally make a petition to revive this thing. They literally like went out, wrote letters to magazines, publishers, all this stuff, and said, get this thing moving. Mm-hmm. And it's just grown and grown and grown and grown and grown, and it has not even remotely begun to slow down at all.
Nope.
It's amazing. I mean, 20,000 people. It's crazy.
And it's been featured on Kotaku, IGN, official PlayStation Magazine.
Very cool.
Konami UK's website actually featured an article from one of the founders of the movement talking about why he likes the games. It's got a section on Operation Rainfall's website, the guys that helped us get Last Story and Xenoblade Chronicles.
Yep.
Helped us get those games brought over to America.
Very cool.
So they've been doing a lot of good work.
I mean, to be honest, like, if you have not played any of the Suikoden games, just check them out. The first one is super easy. We're going to review it today, but the series as a whole is fantastic. It really is excellent. I know Brian just started with this one.
Just started, yep. I
started
now
on the
know about
first
the
one.
108 Stars of Destiny.
It's on the PlayStation Store right now, so you can download it. You don't have to buy the disc because honestly, you go to Amazon, you look it up, you're going to be like, oh, I'm not paying that. No way.
Yeah.
Well, at least not the first one's not that expensive, but the second one,
Yeah, second one's-
the series as a whole is just, it really is excellent. Mark and I have played. I've played the first 3. Mark, you've played all 5 of them.
I've beaten 1, 2, and 3. I've almost beaten 5, and I've barely played 4.
Okay, 4's kind of the black sheep, I think, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, eventually we'll get to all of them, but like we're starting with this one. Again, I don't want to go too much into it because we'll get into it with our review. But if you have not checked out the series, just read up on it a little bit. It's a JRPG, but it's not your typical JRPG by any means. It's a lot more political, a lot more down to earth and serious, but set in that fantasy world. So it's very, very like Brian is not a huge JRPG guy.
No, but the way you just described that is exact. Like it really tries to stay away from a lot of the JRPG tropes, I guess is the word I'm looking for.
So definitely, at least go read up on it, look at videos, whatever. Just it's an experience. It definitely is. So
And the reason I'm talking about this on the Spotlight segment is because if you have any interest in this, I urge you to go to their Facebook page and sign up and tell Konami that we want more of these games.
if nothing else, just like the page.
Yeah,
You know,
exactly.
I mean,
You just go in and you click a button.
yeah, get the numbers up there. That's all. I mean, they make
Yeah.
posts all the time, and it's posts about Suikoden and just like look at this new art, or we just got it featured on this article on this play. I mean, it's all game related. It's excellent. It really, really is. So they're doing some great things over there. Anybody have anything else to add on the Suikoden revival movement?
It would be nice if Konami saw that we want Suikoden 2 on the PlayStation
Yes.
Store.
Yeah, for sure.
Most of the work is done because they ported it to PSP for the Japanese market. So most of the work is done. I'm not sure what's holding them back.
What's the actual web page for them to go to?
Facebook.com/Suikoden Revival.
All right, so go check them out.
Oh, Sam.
With that, we will move on to our first review. This game is the first of 2 that we're going to be doing today. This one was one of the, when we talked about our little gaming get-together that we did a few weeks ago, this is one of the games we played, probably the heaviest of the 3. It was the one that probably took the longest, I'd say, right? Called To the Moon. It's for PC, developed by Freebird Games and published by Freebird Games. It's about, it's about an old man who is on his deathbed, basically, and there's a company, 2 scientists come by, and they have the ability to basically go into your mind, see your memories, and rearrange things to make you feel like you accomplished your last wish. And his last wish is to go to the moon. And so they're like, we have to look at his memories in the past. We have to see what we can change about his life that would basically impact the rest of his life to lead up to events to him actually going to the moon. Mm-hmm. And so you're backtracking through this man's memories and witnessing all these events and stuff like that. And there's twists and turns, and you hear these little clues, and you the farther back you go, the more it becomes clear, and the more you learn about him and his life. And it just you learn a lot about him and the things he's been through, the people he's met, and that's kind of just where it goes. So why don't we go ahead and talk about pros? We're going to do a little different this time, right? We're not going to be just going one by one. We're just going to kind of open up the table and
See how it works.
Who's got some pros?
Go ahead, Mark.
All right. This is a wonderful game if you want a game that's going to press your buttons and make you feel something. I personally didn't cry, but I know that did JJ cry?
I didn't cry, but I was
you
getting
sure?
close. Like I got goosebumps.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Big
You got
time.
goosebumps.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And I even said to you guys, I was like, man, I feel like tears might start flowing here in a second. They didn't,
Yeah.
but I mean, it was. There's a big plot twist in there that I didn't see coming at all.
Mm-hmm.
I was tempted to put this on my list today, to be honest with you. It was, I mean, it just like it hit me like a ton of bricks. It was
Yeah.
crazy. I did not see it coming at all. But it's one of those where it's cool because you know, it happens, and I don't want to spoil it, obviously, but it happens, and then you think back to what happened throughout the story, and you're like, oh my gosh, there were all these clues, and it makes so much sense now. And it's one of those moments where it just hits you, and you're like, I figured it out. Holy crap! And it was awesome. But it was very, very. It tugs at your heartstrings.
Yeah.
Big time. I loved that. I thought it was incredible. I thought the
Absolutely.
story was great. I mean, that's my biggest pro right there. The story itself.
How about the music? Big pro.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Oh my gosh, the music is
Wonderful.
unbelievable.
I gotta say, I kind of approached this game with a bit of skepticism. I'd heard how amazing it was, but when I see modern games coming out with, you know, SNES level graphics, it makes me a little skeptical. Like, are
Yeah.
they doing this because they just don't have the means to make a game that looks
Yep.
more modern? But I got into it, and the characters are just so likable.
Yes.
You just kind of fall in love with the characters as soon as you start playing.
Absolutely.
And it totally swept me away by
The writing.
like an
I thought
hour.
The
or two
writing
in.
was well done.
It just really felt like something I hadn't played before.
Yeah.
Like it really just pulled you in, and it's hard to see. Like back on the Super Nintendo days and stuff like that, it was easy for a game to do that because that's what we had. Nowadays, when we've got these updated graphics and these, you know, powerful engines and all this stuff, it's really tough for a game to do that. And for something that looks like this, I'm not saying it looks bad to me.
Oh, no, it doesn't. Not at
I
all.
think it looks great, but to have a game with like sprites and the smallish graphics and that kind of stuff, it's very rare to, you know, captivate an audience
Yeah.
as much as it did.
It was definitely a unique narrative. I don't remember a story ever having this kind of spin on it with the whole memories. I mean, maybe Inception if you really want to
Oh,
dig,
yeah.
but that was about it. You know,
To be honest, I like this better than Inception.
that's what I'm saying. Like it was very well done. I was I think more surprised than any of you two that I actually liked it. Like I thought this game was going to be the one that I didn't like.
It was my personal favorite of the three.
It ended up being my second favorite, so I was like, oh wow, okay.
I think I'd say it was my favorite as well. It's going to be the one that goes with me, I think. the
Yeah,
farthest.
definitely. Well, because it had the most story out of the three.
Yeah,
For
true.
sure. That it was just the most memorable, I think. One of the other things I really liked about it, though, is that it's so short that you don't have to, like, invest hours upon hours in it.
Yep.
So it was nice to, you know, just be able to hop in, do it. It was, what, like 3 hours?
Maybe 4.
Yeah.
3-4 hours, depending on, you know, how long it takes you to do some of the
Right.
puzzles and stuff. I think that was another aspect that was attractive to me, was just the you know, you just play it and you're done.
Yeah.
And that's it. You can save it if you need to, but we all did it in one sitting, obviously.
Right.
So, all right. Well, then, anybody have any other pros?
I think we about spelled it out there.
We hit on the music, the
Yeah.
plot. I liked the little. I've seen some reviews that said those little mini games, the little puzzle mini games,
Mm-hmm.
felt out of place, but I thought it worked. It was just a little sense of accomplishment each
They
time.
were
you
too
get your
easy though,
clues.
like
Okay, well, sure.
trivial.
I didn't mind them too much. I thought it added, you know, gameplay
Yeah.
Yeah.
to it. You're not just mindlessly walking around talking to people. Mm-hmm. So I think it, you know, it didn't need to be in there, but I think it added to it rather than took something away.
But I felt like that was only part of the game. There's really no gameplay to that other than that. I mean, it was just like a interactive narrative, basically.
Yep. Yeah, definitely. All right. Well, let's go into cons. Anybody?
I'll start because I have a few, probably more than you guys do.
Nice.
I didn't like that there was no gameplay element to it. Any game I play, I like to have some sort of gameplay element.
Did that bother you about Dear Esther as well?
Yes, and Stanley Parable. It wasn't really a game to me. It was more like an interactive thing.
And I would agree if it were longer, but that's one of the reasons why I liked it, that it was so short, was
Yeah.
because you're not doing, you know, you're doing something mindless, just
Sure.
walking around talking to people. But, you know, throwing those in there,
Yeah.
and the puzzles and stuff, and then making it so short really kind of offset that for me, at least.
Sure. That would be my main con, was just like I like games to have a bit of a challenge factor to them, just so I can feel accomplished.
There was the start of a combat in there.
Oh, that was hilarious. Yeah, that was where you're like, oh, is this turn-based?
That is another
Oh, yeah,
pro.
that
The
was-
sense of humor.
Yeah, it
of
was
the game
very
was
funny.
really good.
Yeah.
So,
My other con, the visuals. I mean,
not a fan of the sprite-based games.
I am a fan of the sprite-based games, but not as an interactive not as an interactive story. Is that if that makes any kind of sense to you? Like a grand scope game that was made in '95. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and say yeah, the visuals are a product of the time. But when you make a game that's got zero gameplay, and it's sprite based, and when I say sprite based, I mean it was very sprite based. I don't necessarily like that as much.
Real old school gamers would find it aesthetically pleasing.
I just think if you're gonna make an interactive story like that, you can ramp up the
But
graphics in some areas.
On the other side of that, it wasn't a game like Dear Esther where you're on this abandoned island with cliffs and a lighthouse at the top
Sure.
of it. You're just at some house and you're going around, you go to a restaurant, and it's really about the people and what that means
And the
rather than
interactions
seeing
between the
beautiful
people.
Yeah.
settings.
Well, and I would forgive it, but I mean, with the no voice acting as well, it's like it reminded me of Bastion a lot. The visual style did. Oh, the only thing that Bastion I liked better than this one would be the fact that Bastion had actual voice acting, so it kind of upped the production value. So I'm like, okay, they really went. And I'm not ragging on Freebird Games; they made an incredible game. But I mean, if you were to put my feet to the fire, it would be a con for me. The visuals weren't exactly the best.
Yeah, I disagree with that.
Sure.
I think because I grew up with sprite-based games. I love it. I think the look was amazing.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was fantastic, and I don't think voice acting belongs in those kind of games. To be honest with you, I think
Sure.
it's awkward and out of place.
I can see that.
It was something that gave me pause at the beginning of the game, but they did it well for what it was, and the writing and music overcame
Definitely,
anything
especially
that
the
I could have
music.
felt negative about it.
Absolutely. To be honest, I really couldn't think of very many cons.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, what anything else, you guys?
I mean, that was
I
it
can't
for
think
me.
of anything.
A slight knock on the visuals.
I was really mad at that character for the decisions she made.
Yeah, but that's part of the story.
Yeah.
That's
If you can't tell, I mean, I think we all recommend it. Absolutely right,
yes.
for sure. Play it.
If you don't play this game, you're an idiot.
They made it seem like
Wow.
Yep, I said it.
it could be the first of many,
Yeah.
and it's been a while since it came out, so I hope they haven't given up on that.
If you look at their website, they have a couple of teasers for some other stuff, and I think there's a few other games that you can download as well.
Okay.
I didn't read too much into it, so I don't know like if any of those are tied to this one. But as far as honestly, for what it is, it's great as a standalone game too.
That's true.
It really was an absolutely wonderful experience. I had a blast playing it, and it really makes you think about your life choices, and kind of just makes you reflect. And
Yeah.
I mean, just like you see all those like TV shows that are corny, where like somebody goes to a nursing home and it's the troubled teen who has to do community service. So he works for a nursing home and ends up talking to an old man, and the old man tells him his life story and it changes him and blah blah blah. Honestly, it was a lot like that. Like you are looking back at this man's life and seeing the things he's gone through and the people he's met and how they influenced him and everything. And it really just it I'm going to sound cheesy here, but it really touches you. It's just a great story and just something to watch.
Yep.
If I was to say, if somebody was to say, hey, can you sum up that game? What does it teach you? I thought it was a really good, I guess you could say, short little story of how our ambitions as kids can completely change due to many variables in your life. Thousands and thousands of different variables that go on, and eventually you don't even remember why you wanted to go to the moon. If that
Absolutely.
makes sense.
Yep. So I mean, if you can't figure it out, play it. We say play it. Play it. Definitely.
It's cheap,
Go
also,
play it.
so go get it.
Yep, it's cheap. It's on Steam, right?
See,
Yeah. It's cheap, it's quick, and it's awesome. So go play
Yep.
it to the moon.
a Frozen North recommendation. Doop doop. That's the noise.
Oh, it's not. Beep, 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 beep.
Well, that's Mark's noise.
Oh, I thought you were doing a missile, so I did the explosion.
No, just like a resounding wow wow wee.
What is happening
Can
right now?
I think we should do from now on. You and me recommend the game, and then he does a sound effect.
Okay,
For how he feels
like
about
I'll go.
If what?
it. They just have to figure it out. It's
Yeah.
like a puzzle.
Like this game was really glue. This game was excellently gwah, gwah, gwah.
What have I done?
I don't want to live on this planet anymore. I want to go to the moon.
I felt that the combat was really.
The Porky Pig?
Yeah, kind
Is that
of.
what that was?
I mean, you can kind of decipher it. Like, The way that it comes out is, the inflection of how it is.
Suikoden.
Suikoden!
This is actually this game is this whole series, to be honest, is Mark's bread and butter.
Oh, yeah.
So what? You're Suikoden,
So-
I'm Final Fantasy, and
Yeah.
Brian is Mass Effect.
Yep.
Yeah.
I've described this game in the past as the JRPG Games of the Thrones.
No, it was just Game of the Thrones.
Sorry,
Game
yeah.
of
That's
the
right.
Thrones.
Yeah, Game of the Thrones.
Which I don't actually understand that reference. Is that because I've only played the first one?
It's not a reference.
Like, why is it Game
It's just
of the
very-
Thrones?
Because it's a complicated plot
Because
that
I-
has a lot of political stuff.
gotcha. Okay.
I accidentally put a "the" in
Gotcha.
there, and I just live with it.
Mark's just goofy.
Okay.
Like that.
I was
He's-
just wondering
he's a real
about that. Mark's kind of sometimes like, yeah.
Accurate.
Accurate.
Yes, absolutely.
you-
I've often described him as that.
And succinct.
So, Mark, why don't you give us a quick rundown of Suikoden 1's plot?
All right. Suikoden 1's plot is you play as, if you're going by canon, you play as Tur McDowell. Tur McDowell.
Woonani.
Tur McDowell.
Isn't it Tyr?
Sure, whatever.
Our hero.
Tur McDowell. The hero is the son of one of the great generals of the Scarlet Moon Empire who goes on a mission. He's starting to join the army, and some stuff goes wrong, and he ends up in cahoots with a rebel faction. You kind of figure out why they oppose the Empire, what's going on there, and eventually you become a general, build up your own castle, recruit 108 Stars of Destiny.
I want to emphasize that because that's a huge selling point for the series as a whole. Each game, you literally recruit 108 characters to aid you on your quest. That's 108 characters who each have their own backstory, who will go to your home base when you recruit them and have some sort of a job, whether it be to help you out in combat, to open up a shop, to have a mini game, to give you a world map. Even in this one, there was a guy welcoming you to the castle. I
Yep.
mean, it literally that's 108 different characters that you are putting into your own city that you're making, and that's in every game. That's a staple of it. That is the staple, if anything.
Yep. So you do all that, and you get involved in the politics of what's going on in the region. You try and impress people in different, regions, different lords of different regions, and get them in your army, and eventually overcome the Empire.
It honestly, it sounds, to describe it now, it sounds kind of basic, and it is by today's standards.
Yeah.
But,
Yep.
when it came out, it was just awesome. It really was.
1995.
I remember the day that I bought it. It wasn't GameStop at the time. It was Funkoland. Mm-hmm. And the guy behind the counter, I went in and I was just looking around, and I had just gotten a PlayStation recently, and the guy was like, "Can I help you find anything?" And I was like, "Honestly, I'm just looking for a good RPG on my PlayStation." And he goes, and he kind of looks behind him at the wall and stuff, and he goes, "Have you played Suikoden?" And that's how he pronounced it. And that's why I remember it, because his pronunciation. I'm like, well, no. And he pulled it out and he put it on put the game on the counter, and I'm looking at it and I'm like, honestly, this is some ugly box art.
Yeah, it's like 1990s Hercules.
It's bad. But when I looked at the back of the game and it showed the sprite based graphics and just everything that I loved about Super Nintendo, but obviously upgraded to be PlayStation 1.
Yeah.
It was it looked really cool. Looked right up my alley. Brought it home, and I played it for a few days straight after that. I didn't beat it though, because it got really hard and I didn't like grinding at the time. Now I can do it because I've done it 1,000 times over with other games, but this is just a game that I've had for a long time, and it really holds a lot of sentiment because it's it's been with me since the beginning of the PS1. So why don't we hop right into our pros and cons. Oh, it's developed and published by Konami, if I didn't say that already.
Konami.
Released on the PS1, and now it's, like we said before, on PlayStation Store. How much was it? Do you remember?
It was less than that. It was like $8.
Maybe.
$7.99.
Not
So,
expensive. Not
Yeah,
expensive.
honestly, anything 15 or below downloading, it's totally worth it.
Yep.
I'd say. All right, pros. Mark, you can't use Suikoden as a pro.
Can I please use that as a pro?
No.
All right, here's my pro.
Water margin is not a pro.
108 stars of destiny, guys. Once you get this so you play for about 6 or 7 hours, and eventually you get a castle. And then you can go out into the world, go back to villages you've already been to, find people that look important, and try and convince them to join your army. Yep. And it's amazing. And as you collect more and more of them, your castle upgrades, you get shops. Like at first it's just an empty castle. And eventually you have all kinds of shops that have more stuff than any town. And it keeps growing, and it's awesome.
For me, it was more like 90-something stars of destiny, because I did not get all 108. Yeah.
It's all right.
Okay.
We'll forgive you.
I still liked all the characters. They were awesome.
Maybe if you'd played it on a bigger screen.
Yeah, or
That
not
could
with
have been-
Marty McFly.
I could have been doing it.
No. Well, yeah, I missed a lot of characters because I was watching Stripes.
But I mean I agree. That's like I said before. That is the big staple of the series, and it's different in every game too. Like the first one, it's a giant castle. Is it the same as the second one? Is it a castle also?
It's a castle.
Third one is. I mean, it's called a castle, but it's more like a mansion. I think. And it's huge.
Yeah.
It's really really big. Fourth one is a ship.
Yes.
Right. Which sounds cooler than apparently it actually is.
The fifth one is honestly a lot like the first one. It's in the middle of a lake.
Okay. But either way, I mean, just the fact that you're upgrading your own town and, filling it with all these people that you're going out and recruiting, and you recruit different characters at different points in the game, it's just awesome. Every time you recruit somebody new, you're like, oh, sweet, I wonder what they're going to do.
Yeah, I'm going to go back and look at them.
And, I mean, 108 times. That's crazy.
Yep.
So that's a huge, huge selling
We're
point.
talking like a 5-story castle, and then it's got separate wings on either side, and it's filled with people, and every single one of them has a name. These aren't just like random villager one.
Yeah.
Yep, absolutely.
And a big pro for me is the game I felt really good about it because it was really restraining itself from going all JRPG on us. Like, I
definitely.
felt it like start to, and then it felt like it reined itself back in. It was like getting a little crazy, and okay, back to normal. Okay, getting a little more crazy, and then slam. It's like it kind of peaked out at that. The last boss. I'll get into that when we go in cons. Was a big.
The whole series, at least the first 3 games that I've played, they're all like that.
I feel like it really restrains itself and keeps itself as grounded as a JRPG can be. And that was a big pro for me.
Yes, yep. I agree. So if you're not a huge fan of, those hardcore JRPGs like the Tales series and that kind of stuff, this I would recommend giving this a shot just for that alone, because it's not a hardcore JRPG that's going to make you go, oh my gosh, really? So what else we got for pros? Music.
Music
Definitely
is
music.
excellent.
Music is very good.
Yep.
And that's another common staple of all the games.
I really liked the leveling system. When you have 108 characters, what's the most annoying thing about most JRPGs? Having to level each one that you want to play. Like, oh, I got this guy midway through the game. Oh my god, he's on level 15 and I'm level 50. I'm not going to play with him. In this game, they had a scaling system where in each area there'd kind of be like a level range that wouldn't give you much experience for some characters, but the ones that were lower, you get like 4 or 5 levels per battle.
Yeah.
They would just immediately catch up, and I loved that about it.
Yep, didn't take long at all.
No.
And you get 6 party members.
Yes,
That's what I was just gonna
also
say, yeah.
excellent.
Yeah.
The fact that you have 6 party members means, okay, let's take 2 low-level characters and get them up to speed. I still have 4 guys that are kicking butt for me.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Yeah, it's so good.
It was fun.
And you never really had to grind much at all, which for me is a huge plus.
Mm-hmm.
No.
Just getting to the destination in a dungeon will pretty much level you up to where you need to be.
That's another pro for me. The dungeons were just simple enough to not feel like, oh god, I got to backtrack 4 rooms to go back to They kind of had branches, but they were very simple branches, and
they didn't drag.
No, God, I hate JRPG dungeons that just drag on and drag on. These kind of kept it simple, but yet still fresh.
The only thing, I'll get to that when we get to our cons, but any other pros at all?
Plot,
Yeah, very good plot.
Obviously.
like we already went on. It's pretty no nonsense. There's a few forays into some side plots, but for the most part, we're going to take down the Empire.
All right. With that, we will move into cons.
Oh, my cons are blacked out.
Mark, you're going to have to actually think about this.
He's
yourself.
trying to say that he doesn't have any cons because he
He's
loves it that much.
tricking us. Yeah,
right.
Well, guys, there's no cons, guys.
I do have cons.
Cons.
I have 2.
2.
Stew.
I have two cons.
What are they?
Do I have to tell you? Here's my first. Here's my
I will
first
tell no
con.
one.
In Suikoden 2, you can sprint. In the first one, I'm guessing you guys thought you couldn't sprint.
I had the character in my party almost the entire game.
You-
so
yeah,
yes.
with
You get the holy rune,
With the right rune,
Right.
you can.
but you have to use up a rune slot. You only get one
Yeah.
in the first game.
unless you use
So that was pretty annoying.
yeah
You know, you get two.
yeah you have Stallion in your party.
Yeah, Stallion has one, and then you get another one.
Yep.
Well, no, I mean, you only have one rune slot.
Oh,
You
yeah,
get
yeah.
one rune, and then
Yeah.
you've used it up.
No, I agree. It's the same thing in Final Fantasy VI with the sprint shoes. In the
Yeah.
original, you couldn't run without having those on, and that took
Annoying.
up a relic slot. But you got two relics, which was nice. So that's one of your cons.
That's one of my cons.
No
And the other one?
sprinting.
And the other one, Brian will probably be shocked by this one. The inventory system.
Oh yeah, that thing was
Shocked, right? You had no idea.
that thing was a horrible
yeah, that's
idea.
probably my biggest con right
And
there.
I understand why they did it. Because it's kind of realistic that you can't just... You don't have some magical bag that's just holding everything that your whole party has that you can
Absolutely,
fish stuff out of.
but it's a video
Okay.
game.
We're
Okay.
supposed to have a good time and not be pulling our hair out.
Let me rebut McIntyre you real quick. I agree that yes, it doesn't have to be realistic, but when they would make me take characters that I'd never equipped with anything, and then go, I had to go. I was like, what? So what
Yeah.
I have to do is it would break me out of the story. It's like, oh man, we're here at this castle. We got to go in and get the general. I'm like, okay, hold on. Let me go all the way back to my castle real quick to the guy, pull out all my gear, get it. Okay, now I'm going
Yeah.
all the way back to the place I was. Like,
And there's some curveballs there, too, where you didn't even have a chance to do that.
yeah.
I will say on that though, honestly, like I didn't find myself gear swapping that much. I really didn't need to unless I got somebody new in the party that didn't have anything on. It was really easy for me to either just buy him new gear right there,
Right.
or he didn't need to because I wasn't going to keep him in the party anyways.
Agreed. It was, I mean, it's annoying enough that I just would save the game and go play Chincharonin until I had 9999999
And that's what I did.
potch.
Yep. Honestly, I think it was probably, and I mentioned this to you guys, it was easier for me to deal with this because I've played Earthbound before, and it's the exact same inventory system as Earthbound.
Nice.
So if you've played Earthbound and you've got that inventory system there, it's the same exact thing. Everybody has their own carrying capacity, and on top of that, you've got a storage thing that you can use if you want to. So, but that doesn't go around with you. So it just depends on your experience with it. Do I like it? Do I prefer it? No, absolutely not.
Yeah.
I would consider it a con. But it's just a gripe. It's not really something that's going to turn me
Right.
away from the game, and you can deal with it pretty easily. So
One thing that did bother me was there's a few times where you had to swap out party members right before a boss battle,
Yeah.
and you don't get to change your formation. So
Yeah.
I have a short range person in the back row that can't do anything.
That's always fun.
That was awesome.
definitely that was awkward too. Like why? I don't even understand why they would do that in some
Yeah.
cases.
Right. Or
So-
at least give you a chance to move your formation around, do something.
Yeah, it didn't happen that often, but it was
Right.
annoying when it did.
Yep.
So because then you pretty much just got a useless person back there who was like, well, I can heal myself with a potion
Yep.
all battle. So, but again, 6 party members, so you've got other people doing stuff.
Yeah.
So,
Not too bad.
Any other cons? Anybody else?
Yes. A few more.
Fire away.
When I said that the game does its best to rein itself in from really weird JRPG, I liked some of the boss battles where it was just you versus the person, right? They didn't turn into something giant and grotesque. It was just you versus this really powerful being, okay? I'm looking at bosses like the Neck Lord. He didn't transform. He wasn't like, this is my
Transforms into
final
bats.
form. He just was himself. The last boss is the exception where it's like, come on. And I was so excited. Hold on.
Quanda Rossman, early in the game, transforms into a monster.
Oh, right. But
true.
those were some examples. Like, and you fight a giant clam. What?
Oh, yeah, that giant clam.
Why?
Love it.
Why?
Or the crystal core.
Yeah, like, I don't understand. But that's always a con for me when I play JRPGs. And then my final one.
So essentially, your con when it comes to JRPGs is them being JRPGs.
Yeah, well, a little bit. Like, why does everybody have to have a final form? Like, why can't I just fight your normal form? Why do you have 7 forms?
Because it's anticlimactic.
No, it's not.
Play
You're chasing
play
around.
Tales of Xillia all the way to the end, and then tell me that's not
You're
anticlimactic.
chasing around this guy who's a real strong guy. Like let's use Final Fantasy VII as I love that game, but let's use it as an example. Sephiroth, you're fighting him, and he's like you know he's powerful. He's got that sword, and then you get to him, and you're like, oh, I'm gonna fight him. Nope, you're gonna fight a giant winged with no legs version of him that doesn't even have a sword anymore.
Because it looks more epic.
I don't. That's
It does. It
Not-
looks a lot better than you're just fighting
I
a dude with a sword.
disagree that looks more epic. It looks more stupid.
You, sir, are in the minority.
Well, but
and
that's
you
what I'm
know
saying,
that.
and that's why I give it a con. I just they don't need to always transform into something to me. Like I roll my eyes every time. Like, oh yeah, okay.
I understand Brian's sentiment,
But you
but
just
if you have a justification for why it's happening, then I accept it.
and this one was a less harsh transform. He transformed into a big dragon, so it was like, okay, I'm gonna give it a It still sucks that he transformed, but he didn't turn into some grotesque guy that's flying around with no legs and he's got like 8 heads. Like I was like, it
What
makes
is this?
more
What
sense.
games
When
have
did
you
that
been
happen?
playing?
Like any JRPG ever, man.
Name one that has a grotesque thing with 8 heads.
Final Fantasy VIII, when she turns into that, like in Final Fantasy VI, from my
I'm
producer.
just gonna.
Final Fantasy 8 when she turns into that. Final Fantasy 6.
My producer's holding up 6, so
What part of 6? You
I
want to
don't
tell
know.
me?
I've never played it.
Oh, okay.
But
Alright.
no, that's my whole thing. Is like it doesn't need to be
I guess
anticlimactic.
the octopus had 8.
No,
legs.
Kefka turns into a pretty goofy looking thing at the end.
But that's most Final Fantasies, and I'm not picking on Suikoden. It's just Suikoden did it less. Like I said, the whole game that was trying to be less of a JRPG than most JRPGs. And
I'm telling you right now. Like, have you played a JRPG where it doesn't do that at all?
no,
Exactly.
right.
Tales of Xillia does not do that at the end.
Right.
You just fight the dude and it's over. And it's so anticlimactic. It really is. If you ever play that game,
maybe
you'll be
I
like,
will. I'll play it.
That's what it feels like.
But
It wasn't bad, but it was like you really expected something more.
Yeah, I get it. And then my last con was too many characters. Too many.
Mark, it's okay. Breathe.
Let me
What?
let me
Breathe.
defend my stance. I honestly
Too
didn't know.
many?
I didn't know half of them. Like at the very end of the game, I'm making a valid point.
No, you're not.
Are you making a valid
Yeah,
point?
hear me out.
108 Stars of Destiny, Brian. They're all awesome.
Too many characters. They don't. I didn't know half of them. Like at the end of the game.
You're the general. You don't have to know them all. You have to recruit them all. All you
Right,
have to do
but
is
if-
motivate them and make sure that you win the war.
I liked the recruiting of them, but they just at the end of the game they were like scrolling the text. I'm like, I don't know who that
That was
was. I don't know
great.
who that was. I don't know who that was.
Okay, so what we're taking away from this basically is every con that Brian's come up with on his own, take that as something that's good with the game. So just don't listen to him, essentially. That's what we're saying. I
Too
guess,
many.
right?
Yeah, you didn't get to
my
know half of them,
goodness.
right?
Yes.
Right?
Like I had my favorites that I
Let me tell you
liked,
what.
but then there was other ones that were in Wings of My Castle I'd never heard of, and also my very last con. I promise is my last one, Mark. I promise.
Oh my God.
the war minigame not needed.
Well,
Needed.
It was terrible.
It adds
it
a
was-
sense of scale.
how
to
else
the
do you
game.
do that
No.
though on a PS1 game? It's
It-
tough. It's tough to do.
I
Well,
get
they do it. They
I-
do it different.
but they're
in the
just
second
kind of
game.
doing this, and then you like.
just wait till you get
Yeah,
to
the
the
second
the
one,
other games.
you actually
in
have
this
a
game,
field.
though, I felt it was tacked on. Is all I'm saying. It was like, oh, this is not really a big deal. Like, make it a cinematic rather than because it was too easy.
It's rock
for
paper
one.
scissors. It's nothing special.
They
I agree
needed,
with him.
They needed something in there to give a sense of scale to the armies.
Make a video.
Absolutely.
Look,
No,
can't.
let's just put a cutscene in.
yeah,
Because
No,
then people will be
no.
complaining about the cutscenes.
it was basically a cutscene. It was not
It wasn't
hard.
a cutscene. There was
Because
challenge
the
involved.
the size of your army depended on how many characters you had recruited. You can't put that into a cutscene
But you could make it. I get it. I just didn't like it
because then
I
it's
guess.
just a scripted event.
and it
in this case,
justifies
it's not.
all of the too many characters in the game. Because then you're going to go and use their abilities to give you a little edge.
too many characters to get to know is what I meant, and I didn't know half of them.
It's fine. I bet a real general doesn't know half of his soldiers.
You know what, Mark? I knew him. Did you?
I did.
See?
And you know what? Taking it a step further, I'm going to know them in the second game when they come back. And I'm going to be like,
I
you
won't.
know what?
I don't even remember half their names.
I remember that. I don't.
You'll remember
Brian,
a few of the
Brian
big
will.
ones.
Brian will say, "I don't really remember that character, but it's in my brain. It's in here." and that's cool that it's back.
There's some that stand out, and you'll
Sure.
Those are the ones
and I
that
had
keep coming
favorites
back.
for sure. Absolutely. I had like 10 or 12 ones that I knew very well, and I liked I liked them in my party. So I mean that was cool. But I was like, man, 108. That's just. Woo. I don't know. I don't know about all that.
It's all right, Mark. Calm down. It's okay.
Maybe 50
all right.
would be better. I don't know.
No, 50.
It's
Man.
just my opinion.
It's
I'm not even laughing right now, guys.
If he was standing up, he'd be stamping his feet.
That's it though. No more cons.
Mark's got a serious face on.
That was more cons than pros, Brian.
No, I have way more pros about this game than I did cons.
I didn't hear him.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah, you did.
I heard me saying a lot of pros.
I agreed. I'm not going to rehash the things you talked about.
Too many characters, huh? You know
For
what?
me.
You know what? There are too many characters in Mass Effect 2.
But there's less than.
I didn't have a
There's
chance.
way less than 108.
I,
I would say the Mass Effect series has
I wanted
the
to get
right
to
amount.
know the chef on the Normandy
Then go get
and
to
hang
know
out
him.
with him
You
more.
also wanted to bang Dr. Chakwas.
He did.
I didn't
so that
say
kind
bang.
of-
I said I wanted to have relations.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, sorry.
I used
I
a
didn't realize we
classier
were being
term.
classier.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. All right. So with that, what do we say? Yay or nay on the recommendation? Mark, what do you think?
Brian's not allowed to play the other games.
Ooh.
Why?
He liked it though. He
I
did
loved
like
it.
Yeah.
Too many. Are you gonna say that as a con in every single one of them?
Maybe if they don't do a better
108
job of it,
characters, not
if
enough?
they don't do a better job of getting me to know the character, then yes.
The third one, I think, and I told you that's my favorite one in the series, does the best job because of the Trinity site system.
Right.
Because
You
you're
get to
getting to
know-
know
You
different
get those
squads.
dogs.
It's
Remember
cool.
the dogs?
Yeah, you get to know all of them. I leveled up all those things too. It was crazy. So, me personally, I highly recommend it. Absolutely. Check it out, check it out, check it out, check it out, check it out. Can't say it enough. Absolutely, 100%. Definitely, Suikoden 1. Do it.
You've failed as a human being if you haven't played it already.
What? All right.
That's my recommendation.
All right. So, Mark says play it. Ryan?
Gotta play it.
There we go. So, definitely, Suikoden 1.
Yeah.
Check it out for sure.
Yep.
It is a great game and another one that's just an experience. We get, both games today.
Yeah.
They were
Excellent.
both excellent games. Yeah.
Yep. So I would say go with To the Moon for an appetizer, and top it off with Suikoden, and play that over the course of the next couple of weeks.
On a handheld if you feel like it.
It'd be all right on a handheld, to be
Yeah.
honest. Sorry, Mark. Okay, so it's just that with
Mark is like
there's just too
boiling
many
inside.
characters. So I'm kidding.
Mark's inner turmoil. 50.
Mark's over there going, I wish I had a bag of chips right now.
No, it was an excellent game. I really liked it.
All right, why don't we move into our top 5 then? So here's the deal. We're like I said on the last episode, and like we said at the beginning of this one, we're doing our top 5 plot twists that took us by surprise. We're not going to spoil anything though. If people like, I know Brian and Mark really wanted to just do a spoiler cast and get it out there. I pulled rank on this, and I don't want to do it because I don't like doing spoilers. My main reasoning for that is because I feel like the whole point of this podcast is to, talk about games and recommend people to play more, to, get out there and do this. And I think if we're spoiling that for people, we're kind of ruining, it defeats the whole point of this top 5.
We want you to play this game.
If you haven't played it, but this thing blew us away, it's like, well, this blew me away, and now it's not going to blow you away because you're not going to experience it the same way I did.
Let me add something. These are not plot twists that we necessarily liked. Just
Correct.
ones that we're like, whoa.
Absolutely.
Because there are a few in
Yes,
mind that I was like,
these are just ones that we did not see
Yeah.
coming at all. So what we're going to do is I'll start with the first one, and it'll kind of give you guys an example of how we're going to do each one. If you really, really want us to do like some sort of a spoiler cast or something, send us an email. If I get enough people requesting it and wanting us to do it, I got no problem doing it because I really don't mind it. I don't, in the spirit of people listening and wanting to hear about games they may not have played or heard much about. I don't like doing spoilers for that reason. You know what I mean?
Understandable.
So
yeah.
In this instance, we're not going to spoil anything.
We're
just
going to
give
talk
you an
about it
idea.
enough to know so that we know what it is, but we're not going to. It's not going to be anything that you guys are going to.
And if you've played the game, we're going to give you a little description on what we're talking about, so you
Yes.
know exactly. You'll be like, "Oh, I know exactly what party's talking
Exactly,
about."
you'll
Like,
know, but people who haven't played the game won't figure it out.
So, and I mean, to start us off right here, Mark and I have the same number 5. I'm assuming your is the same as me, one of your party members.
Yes.
Okay, so Mark and I's number 5 is Final Fantasy VII.
Oh, yes.
And chances are, if you have the internet, or if you've obviously played the game, you know what we're talking about. A certain character in your party, something happens to them, and needless to say,
It's very twist.
yeah.
Pretty shocking.
Yeah,
And I mean, I the first time I saw it, I didn't see it coming at all. Hit me like a ton of bricks.
I was
First
more.
time I got that far was never. But
But you have the internet.
I have the internet,
That's the
and
internet.
it was
So-
shocking.
So yeah, that's Mark and I's number 5, Final Fantasy VII, and it has to do with party member. So Brian, what's your number 5?
My number 5 is Metal Gear Solid, and it has to do with the revelation of a character that you are interacting with is not who you think it is.
I know who it is.
I need to play that. I got the Legacy Collection. I
It-
haven't played
Does
it.
It's
it
a-
take place on an oil rig?
In Alaska, in the 60s, in the jungle.
With too many characters.
Oh, my God.
No, it's you'll know if you've played the game. You'll know exactly what I'm talking about. And I played this when I was pretty young. I think I was in junior high when I first played this game through. And you're like, oh, like you think,
Yep.
yeah.
All right. My number 4 is in the series of the game we just talked about, Suikoden 3.
Solid choice.
Absolutely. One thing, and this has nothing to do with the plot twist, but I kind of want to just bring it up. One thing that's really cool about Suikoden 3, and this is another reason I implore you to check out this series for sure.
Too many characters.
The third one, and this addresses Brian's issue for sure. It has what's called the Trinity Sight system, which it starts out where you get to pick one of 3 characters who are going through the same set of events, each from their own point of view. There are other games that have tried to do this, like Tales of Xillia tried to do it. Star Ocean Second Story tried to do it. Star Ocean Second Story actually did a pretty decent job of it. I have yet to see a game that does it better than this one, though. Each one of them, like you play through one of them, and you come across one of the other characters in it, and you're like, oh my gosh, that other character is a jerk. I can't believe blah, blah, blah. Then you play as the other character from his side, and you're like, wait, no, that first character is kind of a jerk. What the heck? And you play through the third character, get a little bit farther, and you're like, wait, no, both of those guys are jerks. And you just see everybody's own point of view, and it really puts things into perspective on, especially, the whole aspect of war. When you think about each side has heroes and villains.
Yeah.
It's just very, very cool, and the storytelling is great. That being said, the plot twist in that game is when you find out who the main villain is. And you have to have played the first 2 games, well, at least the first one. Well, is he's in the second one, right? Mm-hmm. It's easier if you play the first 2 games. I would just play them in order because they're that good. You find out who the villain is, and it's cool. You kind of look back and you're like, wow, really, guy? So, but it all fits together very, very well, and it gave me goosebumps when I first learned it.
Yeah, it's pretty shocking.
So, yep.
And Brian will be saying, wait, who is that? Was that one of the too many characters I didn't have a chance to get to know?
Maybe I'll be like, I don't know who that is. I never knew.
So that's my number 4, Suikoden 3.
Maybe 58 characters.
Mark, what's your number 4?
Okay, my number 4, and I was shocked that Brian didn't have this on his list. My number 4 is BioShock.
I'll explain
the
when you're
first
done.
one.
I'll explain why when you're done.
For me, a really good twist is a twist where once you've figured it out, if you look back, you can see all the groundwork.
Yep.
You can see it wasn't just something they thought of that was, oh, this will shock them. No, they clearly designed that as the core of the game. And to me, that was one of the best examples is BioShock.
Yeah, I agree. I for my review, you can tell it was okay. Mm-hmm. I wasn't amazed by the game.
Yeah.
But that was a very, very cool plot twist.
Yep.
The reason it's not on my list is the internet ruined it for me before I played it.
That is terrible.
Yep, it's one of the only games that's ever been ruined for me via internet, and it happened. And I still love the game, but I knew it was coming.
Very cool. Brian, number 4.
My number 4 is also Final Fantasy VII, but it's not actually the same twist that those two were talking about.
Oh,
Well,
the other twist?
there are actually quite a few in this one.
I know what you're talking about.
But in this twist, you find out that your main character maybe misremembered some things. Mm-hmm. And
Yep.
you're like, I remember when I revealed that, I was like, wait, what? So, wait. Oh. And it kind of changes the whole dynamic of the... you kind of look at your character differently after that.
You want to talk about convoluted plots and JRPGs?
It can get that way, sure.
Good one though.
Yep.
So that's Brian's number 4, Final Fantasy VII. My number 3, little known game. Well, I don't know if it's little known, but I don't know too many people who have played it other than me. And I'm gonna butcher the name because I don't know how to pronounce it, to be honest. Baton Kaitos, or Baton Kaitos, however you pronounce it.
Baton Kaitos.
Sure.
Yeah.
On the GameCube. I honestly was not huge on this game. It's a card battling game, which isn't that great. The world map system is not open at all. It's side scrolling, sort of. The visuals are kind of cool, especially for a GameCube game. It's very, very pretty to look at. And the voice acting I thought was atrocious, and I normally don't even care about voice acting at all. I just was not a fan of it at all. And I couldn't finish it just because it got just too much to handle, I guess is the best way to say it. Maybe I'll go back to it eventually someday, but either way. The twist in this game, though, I mean, I did not see it coming at all. Wow. It has to do with the main character. If you've played the game, you know exactly what I'm talking about. It is just... I've never seen another game do this. Ever. At all. Not even close. It's so far out of left field, and almost I was tempted to move this up to my number 1 at one point, but then I was like, yeah, these other two are still, they hit me harder, to be honest. But I as much as I was not a fan of the game, the twist I thought was very cool and very unexpected. So that's my number 3, Baton Kaitos.
Yeah.
Batenkaitos.
Yep.
That one. Mark, what's your number 3?
My number 3 is Braid. This is an indie gem that came out on Xbox Live Arcade and PC, and maybe some other stuff, I don't know, that involves time travel puzzles. It's got this plot that's sort of outside of what you're doing most of the time, but you're trying to save this princess and going through various different challenges, and I'm not sure how much I can say about the twist, other than the puzzles are all time travel based, and then when you look at something in a different time, in a different frame of mind, you see that it's completely the opposite of what you think you're doing.
All right.
Cool.
That's all I can
Interesting.
I like it.
In true Frozen North tradition, I've not played that game, but I've watched Mark's brother play it.
Yeah.
Oh boy. Brian, what's your number 3?
My number 3 is BioShock Infinite.
Solid choice.
Yeah. Whoa. This game made me really like. As the credits were rolling, I remember sitting in my computer chair and kind of like with a decompression. Like I'm trying to just. They come at you with a lot of stuff at the very end of the game so quickly, and you're going like that in your brain.
That is accurate.
Yeah, I'm telling you.
I'm not even being sarcastic. That
It
is
just
exactly
really. I
what
mean,
it's like.
it's the game throughout that you have this great story, and then all of a sudden when it starts hitting the twist, it's kind of like you're driving in a car, and then that person for like the last 30 yards just floors it to 1,000 miles an hour.
First, you're like halfway in the game, and
Yeah.
you're like, "Oh, is that the twist?"
You think you know the twist. It's not even close.
And then it's like, "Oh God! Oh no!
then-
Oh no!
Yeah.
Oh no!" And
Yeah.
you just can't. You don't have any time to.
Let me just say this. I'm going to say this about the twist. The pinky is all I'm going to say. Whoever's played it knows all about it. And you're like,
Throw the pinky.
yeah. You know what I'm talking about, Mark, when I say the
jeez.
pinky? Mm-hmm. When I say the pinky?
I'm trying to.
When I say...
I don't think he has any clue what you're
I'm
talking
trying to put
about.
down some smoke screen, but yes, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Okay.
Just tell Brian there's too many characters in the game.
Yeah. Yes. Anyway, and it ramps up after that, and then it took me like 10 minutes after the credits were done to like,
Yeah.
oh. Very good.
Nice. All right, Brian's number 3, BioShock Infinite. My number 2, and I can't believe you guys didn't have this on your list. Unbelievable. The Last of Us.
Was there a twist in that?
Yeah, there
The
was.
ending.
There was, but
The ending.
Oh, yeah.
And what he does.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't see that coming. And that is not normally what happens
no.
in stories, period.
True.
Me and my brother were trying to, when we saw JJ's list, we were like, what was the twist? And I kind of figured it was this. So, definitely, yeah.
If you've played The Last of Us, which if you haven't, oh man, go play it. If you have a PS3, you're missing out. The ending, there's just, it's not, I mean, when we reviewed it, I went nuts over it. And I think about it and I'm like, that's so cool. But
Yeah.
man, jeez, dude.
You're just like, oh.
Yeah.
That's the sound that I would
You
make.
really don't know how to feel about it.
I felt
it's like,
upset.
It's this
about
sound.
it.
It's this sound. Oh. Right?
I was like, whoa, can I choose to do something
You
different
really
here?
could go either way, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I could see people loving it, and I could see people hating it. Mm-hmm. It's just something unexpected.
I'll say nothing has evoked that level of discontent in me.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Where you're like bull crap at the end. You're like, no.
Yeah.
but not in a bad way.
No,
not
but
to where
you-
you're like,
but-
oh, I hate this game. Blah,
Yeah.
blah, blah. It was like, I can't believe
It's like you
Wow.
wanted the option. You wanted the option to pick one or two. You're like, no, I wanted to pick it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So definitely, Last of Us, my number 2, Mark, and I should just chip you. For
Shadow of
putting
the
this game.
Colossus. Why isn't this on yours,
It's
Brian?
a good. It's on my top 10 if we were to do a top 10.
Okay.
Is the twist that you have to do the same thing over and over and over and over again?
And it surprises you every time, doesn't it?
Yeah. Oh my gosh, what a surprising game.
That was the twist.
That was the twist.
The surprise for me was how much everybody said they loved it and how much I hated it.
I loved the game. Loved
I
it.
hated it.
I hated it. Some of it was really good, but sometimes I just wanted to throw the controller. But, so you're doing all this stuff to help resurrect your friend, and then a thing happens, and you're like, oh my god, what have I done?
Yes.
And I can't say any more than that.
Pretty much. It's a good twist. It's a very good twist. It is.
That's all.
You beat the game, JJ? Okay. He wouldn't know that.
I played the demo,
Okay.
and I got to the top of the first Colossus once, did it, and then it knocked me off, and I realized I had to start all over to hit him again, and I was like,
You are
Nope.
not a
You know
grip
what?
master.
I turned it off.
I am the grip master.
That was a game that came
It
out on the
knocks you,
PlayStation
it does knock
2.
you off. You can't do anything about it.
yeah.
That came out for the PlayStation 2, guys.
And it was beautiful.
There's no game even now that matches up to that technical.
Oh, it
Marvel.
looks beautiful. I'm not disputing that. I'm just saying the gameplay was
The
terrible.
twist was good though, Mark.
Ugh.
I agree with you. It's on my top 10. It just didn't quite make it to the top 5.
And I know I am in the minority with that. I know it's a beloved game and people think it's all
I see
awesome and blah
both
blah
sides
blah.
of it.
I absolutely. You say that about everything. You never take a side.
I'll
Yeah,
take a side right here. There are not too many characters in Suikoden. That's a side that I'm taking.
108 minus 60, maybe I'll accept.
No! That's 48! That's less than before.
We're going down here, guys.
What if
No,
those
I
48
understand.
were the 40, the half that you didn't care about? or didn't know?
What if that happened? I definitely wanted to throw the controller more than a few times when I was playing that game.
I couldn't stand it. I really like I said, all I played was the demo. I was like, nope,
Understandable.
nooey. So not my cup of tea. All right. So Mark's number 2, Shadow of the Colossus. Blech. Brian, what's your number 2?
My number 2 is a game we played recently, and we reviewed Star Ocean Till the End of Time, or as I like to call it, Sotiot.
And we won't say it in this one just in case we have a new listener or something, but Brian actually spoiled it
Yeah, I did.
in that episode.
Go back and listen. But no, this was I hated it. I hated the twist. I hated it so much. But you have to understand that before I played this, both JJ and my brother told me that there was a huge plot twist, and it was crazy, and you would not believe it. And knowing that going into it, I was like, oh, they ruined it. I'm going to look for a twist. I'm going to look for it, and I'm going to find it, and then it's going to be totally anticlimactic. And even
Blindsided.
still, I was like, here's the noise I would make for it. Oh, God! that was the noise I made.
It's ridiculous.
It's
It is.
very ridiculous.
It's absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah. Yep.
Oh yeah.
Well, that being said, I mean, easy enough. Mark and I both have the same number one. Star Ocean till the end of time.
Sotiot.
Yep.
This was a wonderful twist.
Mark
love this
It was
twist.
so terrible.
'Cause for me, it was like, this isn't shocking. This isn't like an idea that I couldn't have come up with. But the fact that a company with so many employees allowed it to happen,
Yeah, like I got through so many filters.
that it happened and it was published, that blew my mind. That's the real twist here, I think.
It is. It's so ridiculous.
Like, who thought that was
It's
a good
so
idea?
far out
And
of
it was
left
so,
field.
and it was so had nothing to do with the game. Like, it had zero to do with its story.
That's why, honestly, I'm glad there's more to this series. Like, I enjoyed the game.
Up to a point.
I'm a huge JRPG fan, so I like the game regardless. I take it for what it's worth. Even for me, though, that was still like, what? Come on.
Yes. You're sitting there
Like,
going,
and when I'm doing that, you
No.
know that it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
But it makes me glad that there's other games in this series because, like, I mean, you just got the first one
yeah,
on your PSP.
I'm going to play through the whole series.
And I think you're going to have a different outlook on the series when you
Sure.
play through that, especially the second one, because the
Right.
second one is bar none the best in the series, in my opinion.
Okay.
It's amazing. So just,
I'm just going to
don't
pretend
judge
like
the
I don't
series
know.
by
Yeah.
this.
No, and I won't. And I just thought it was such a wicked twist.
And yeah, it's out of left
Enjoy
field.
those Star Ocean games. Enjoy those Star Ocean games.
I don't get it.
What? Okay, I will.
He will.
With their complete triviality
What?
What?
and meaninglessness. I can't say more.
Oh,
All right, Mark.
I see what he means.
Yeah, no,
I
it's
see what he
it's
means.
not going to affect anything. Trust me.
I see what he
I
means.
dealt with 108 characters or whatever, so I can deal with this.
What the? No! God!
I'm giving Mark, and what he fails to realize is I love Suikoden, and I'm so excited to play the whole series, but I like to give him a little.
Oh.
Brian, what's your number one?
My number one, and this is the reason it's number one, is because this is the one I loved the most. This one actually tugged at me. It's Final Fantasy X.
It better not be the one that I'm thinking of.
I don't know if it was the voice acting, but I grew really attached to all the characters in Final Fantasy X. It was a very well done story. And there's a revelation in the story that one of your characters has to do something, and it's like you feel hopeless, like you want to save him or her.
Okay, never mind. It's not the one I was thinking of. Okay, good.
There's this. You go on this journey in this game, and there's this big evil thing you're going after. It's called sin. So
Yeah.
you're going after it, and you're collecting all these guardians, right? And then you get to this point in this town, and this like messenger tells you what has to happen next, and you're like, no. Like I was like, no, I don't want that to happen. Can we just not play this game anymore? Like it really. I mean, I'm glad it didn't end up happening, but
Oh, you're gonna like Tales of Symphonia.
But I just felt I was so attached to the characters that I was like, it really like daggered me. Like here's what that made me do: go,
Really? You didn't see that coming though?
no, not at all.
Really?
Yeah, you don't. See, I mean,
I thought it was really predictable.
Really?
To be honest. Yeah. Maybe it's because I did play Tales of Symphonia.
but because you're like it has. I mean, maybe that's why. But I mean, you're thinking that you're going to gather this army, and you're going to go traditionally how it usually works.
Yeah.
But when you find out what has to happen, you're like, but then you
I
find
saw it coming.
okay. But for me, it just got me right there.
He's making stabbing motions into his chest. So that's what that clap sound was.
Like that. It hit me right there. A spear of destiny.
Wow. All right then. So there we go. Brian's number one.
What twist
Final
did you
Fantasy
think I was
X.
talking about?
I thought you were talking about one of two, either Orin
Oh,
or or the very end.
oh.
In which both cases I was going to go. You didn't see that coming because I thought those were
Those were
predictable
very
either.
predictable.
Not the end. The end I had to look up online because I was like, "What just happened?"
Oh.
What? And then I read it and I was like, "Really?"
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yep.
So yeah, I didn't get it. I had to look it up.
Can we just say that the memory?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mark, have you played 10?
Barely.
Too many characters?
You gonna play through it when the special edition or high res whatever remake comes out?
HD?
I'll let you borrow my PS2 copy and I'll play through the new one.
I might.
You should.
I'll
It's.
look
I mean,
at it.
it's definitely worth a playthrough, for sure.
Yeah.
It's a good experience. So
So you're gonna
Okay.
play it.
very linear, but honestly, the typical Final Fantasy, feeling is there.
And they brought back
Yep.
true turn-based combat, which was such a treat.
Yep. And you know what? I love the combat in that game.
Yeah,
It's very
absolutely.
good. Being able to switch out your party and stuff.
On
but
the fly.
I actually listened to another podcast this morning that was
Yeah.
talking about Final Fantasy X.
I'll play it, but then you have to come over and do all the blitzball stuff for me.
You don't have to do that.
to do that.
Ever?
Nope.
You have to do it once, but you don't have to actually
You don't
even
have-
try.
you don't
can
have to
lose
win.
and it doesn't
Yeah.
matter.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
So, and it's at the very beginning of the game.
Yep.
So once you're done, you're done. So that's our top 5. Top 5 plot twists we didn't see coming. Like I said, I apologize for not, us not going too much in depth as far as, what the actual spoilers were. If you've played the games, chances are you know what we're talking about in most of these. If you haven't, go check them out because then you will know what we're talking about. And you know what? Who knows? Maybe it'll still hit you by surprise. Emails and shoutouts. We didn't get any emails. I feel lonely.
Yeah.
Somebody email us. Talk to us
Talk
about
to us.
games.
Tell us stuff.
Or
Come on
just
now.
talk to us about anything.
Tell
Do
Mark
you
that-
like mustard or not?
Yes.
email us and
Tell us if you like mustard or not.
email us and tell us the exact number of characters that Suikoden should have.
Don't do that.
Mark doesn't want to hear people's real opinions.
Yeah.
I think 108 is fantastic.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Because it makes for a good city.
Yeah.
Yeah.
108 is perfect.
I mean, did you get to know every single one of the crew members on Mass Effect?
Not the ancillary
I
ones.
would have
no.
if they
Exactly.
let me.
See, this one gave everybody a name.
Yeah, but you
Not
didn't know
everybody
half
was
of them.
crucial or pivotal,
right, but
but
you
they
didn't-
still added flair
You-
and character to the game.
okay. It was a good game. I like it. Just too many characters.
You ruin everything. So, all right. Well, last thing, let's get into our bi-weekly question.
Come on.
We asked, we got to do one high five at least for the episode. So you don't have to make it. Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Good. There it was.
That's a begrudging high five.
We asked,
sorry,
yeah,
Mark.
Mark was
Mark,
making.
I'm
He was
sorry.
grimacing. All right, so we asked on the Facebook page last episode, do you replay RPGs? If so, what makes you come back to them? If not, why? Oh, we got a handful of responses. Andy says, I replay some if they have the options that could change the flow of the game or the story so that I can play all aspects of it, like Mass Effect, obviously, or almost any BioWare game. Any games with choice, basically.
Yeah.
Matt says, not generally, but when I do, it's usually because I want to see what happens if I make different choices story-wise. Pretty common consensus, it looks like. Dave says, if I do replay an RPG, it's always because I want to revisit the world. That's kind of how I am. Like, I mean, obviously, listening to this, you know that I'm big on nostalgia. And there are so many times when I think back, like Final Fantasy X, when I was listening this morning to that other podcast, I'm like, I really want to play it again. I
Yeah.
can't wait for this remake. I just want to get back into it. Just because, not because I want to make different choices or anything like that, because it's not
It's a
really an
great
option.
game, yeah.
But I just want to revisit, what's going on. So I totally agree. And Isaac says, never, and your brother will like this. He says, never, unless it's Xenoblade.
Oh.
So
I've heard such good things about that game. I can't wait to play it.
well, you're playing the Xenogears right now.
Mhm.
What about you guys? You guys replay RPGs?
That would depend. I have to replay Suikoden games because those are so good, and I want to go out and re-meet all the 108 Stars of Destiny. 108
He's staring right at me,
Stars
guys.
of Destiny, and they're easy to replay. It's not difficult. But if there's a game, like I would not replay maybe Star Ocean Till the End of Time with all of its difficulty spot. It's uneven difficulty.
Yeah. See, I think Suikoden would be difficult to replay.
Really?
To be honest, simply because I like to do everything that I can. I play with guides. I do, especially in a game like that. If it's a game that doesn't require a lot of heavy thinking and collectibles and that kind of stuff, that doesn't really bother me that much. But like a game like Suikoden, I want to get all 108 stars, so I
Yeah.
play with a guide. That way, I don't miss anything. I don't want to once I do it once, I'm good. Like 3. When we get to that again, I probably won't play through that again. A, because the game is long.
Yeah, it is.
And I loved it. Don't get me wrong. It's an amazing game. It's probably in my top 10. But to be honest, I just, there was so much to it. And again, going back and recruiting all these people again, I just don't know that I really have the desire to do that again. And I think if you're going to not like me for saying this, I would probably go back and replay it if it didn't have the recruiting aspect.
Well.
I know.
What does that even mean?
What does
I know,
that even
because
mean?
that's just
Would you go and
monotonous to me.
would you be more likely to play Pokemon again if you didn't have to catch all 108?
But I don't replay
Stars of
Pokemon again.
Pokemon?
What?
I don't know.
Mark's just so flustered. He's just like, I'm gonna grasp that thing.
That sounds like a legit question, Brian. But no, I don't replay Pokemon games either.
All right.
I absolutely don't, because once I collect them all, then I'm like, okay, I finished, done with it.
I love getting those Stars of Destiny.
And I do too, absolutely. And
Although
two, I'll
I
probably
can
replay.
understand some of them are more frustrating than others.
Yeah, 2 I'll probably replay because it was such a great game. Mm-hmm. But 3 was a great game too. But it's just so long.
Yeah.
Really is. But I just that's the main reason why. Just those monotonous things that I feel like I've done them once, and that is the accomplishment. Like it's like, okay, here's I can compare it to this. If I play a game on PlayStation 3 and I get every single achievement in the game, perfect hit. Mm-hmm. Do I really want to come back to it later on again? Chances are probably not, because I've already done everything.
Right.
Unless it's something where I'm like, you know what, I really want to experience the story again. I really want to revisit this world. I really, if it hits me there. But if it's something that I'm not, drawn to, like, I love the collection aspect of Suikoden, but since they all feel like just separate achievements to me, I feel like once I've done it, I'm good to go. Like Final Fantasy VI, Final Fantasy VII, I've gone to 1,000 times over, because there's not that, like, collection aspect. There's no real completion thing as far as, like, having to do this monotonous thing, unless you want to talk about, like, getting all the enemy skills and summons and all that stuff like that, which you do throughout the game anyways as you progress. Suikoden, you really don't. You have to go out of your way a lot to do a lot of that stuff. So that's just kind of where I'm coming from.
Even more so in the second one.
Yes, definitely.
Well, with me, it's doubly true for RPGs, but if I love the game, it makes it more interesting for me to go back. So I don't play with a guide. So I like to play it organically the first time through. And if it's good enough, I feel like I want to go all... I'm like, oh man, like Final Fantasy VII is a good example. I beat it once without a guide, went through it, missed a lot of stuff, but I loved the game so much that I eventually wanted to go back and see all the content. And that's how it is with RPGs for me. If the game is good enough, then I will go look up a guide and find out how to do every single thing after my organic playthroughs to determine whether it's good. Because if the game sucks, I don't want to do everything in the game, if that makes sense.
No, I guess. I feel like JRPGs are more labor-intensive than Western RPGs in terms of, grinding, leveling up, whatever. So this is why I like to use guides, because I want to make sure I'm going to go and do everything I can do.
Amen.
And not have to waste time doing it again a second playthrough, unless it really won me over and I want to play it again.
I'm opposite of you. I'd rather play through it organically, and then if I loved it, come back to it at a later time.
A lot of times it makes things easier. Like Xenosaga Episode 1, there's you can, if you play through it, and when you get to it, you'll eventually do it, but if you play through it, you can build a giant robot to help you out in battle. This thing is just uber powerful, ridiculous. One of the main bosses, Albedo, he's like the second to last boss, I think. I one-shotted him because I had the robot.
Nice.
Wow.
And, I mean, you know me. I like to play the game for the story. I'm not looking for a super hard challenge. I'm not looking for, this long, drawn-out battle sequences or anything like that. Just get me to the end. Let me know what's going to happen to these characters and this world. And that's how I do it. And using the guide, I was able to get that robot, one-shotted him. You can only use it once per battle, and it transitions right into the next battle. So I had to beat the last guy, without it. But, it helped me because I didn't have to draw out things that I didn't want to draw out. It actually made things quicker for me. Not that I didn't want to savor that game because it was great, but,
I see.
I like using guides for the same reason Mark does. I just I don't want to have to play through it if I don't want to again.
Valid.
So, and I think eventually that'll be a good bi-weekly question to pose to people, is whether or not they like to play with guides.
They prefer guides or not, yeah.
So,
and I'm totally in agreement with that one commenter who said games like Mass Effect I really do want to play again and be a jerk.
I think that's how a lot of people feel.
Yeah.
Fable, I wasn't a huge fan of the game, but I wanted to play a second time. I beat that game twice just because I wanted to see, like, what, I wonder what it's like if I kill the guy I'm supposed to escort instead, you know?
Yep.
So, all right. So next episode, we're going to be asking, what brings you to a new console? Exclusives, price, power, something else? You decide.
Your choice.
Yep. So, that pretty much wraps it up.
All right.
Email us at frozennorthpodcast@gmail.com. Please email us, because I like talking to people about games.
Oh, yeah.
If there's something you want us to review or talk about, bring up, whatever, top 5 list suggestions, something you want to yell at Brian for.
Or games for me to play. I'm very, newbie on JRPGs. I watched my brother play most of them growing up, so I've got a lot of catching up to. I'm playing Xenogears, for give you an example. I've never played it before. So, give me suggestions.
So, yes, absolutely. Just talk to us about games. We love it when people do that. Hit us up on Facebook at facebook.com/thefrozennorth. We're starting to climb up there in likes. We're up to 202, something like that.
Yep.
200 something.
202.
Check out our Twitter at FN Podcast. Look at our blog at frozennorthpodcast.blogspot.com. Please subscribe to us and rate us on iTunes. And just let us know what you think. Tell us what you like, what you don't like, blah, 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 all that stuff. In episode 17, in 2 weeks, we are going to be talking about our top 5 games from 2013. So we gave it a month because there were a couple of games that we hadn't played yet. So, yeah, should be a good one. So, you guys have anything else that you want to talk about, bring up? I'm starting to lose my voice, I can tell.
Brian?
I'm hungry.
You know what brings me to a new console? If I can collect 108 Stars of Destiny on it. Now you can fade out the music.
Oh my god. Thanks for listening, everybody. Keep on gaming.
This song was made available via the Creative Commons Attribution License. The song, Somewhere in the Stars, was written and produced by SoundCloud user _TWC.